Once upon a time, at the edge of an ancient lake that glittered like a spilled sheet of tin, lay a stone so still and old that it gathered every whisper of the world into its silence. This was the hush stone, a boulder so heavy with peace it drew in all sound and kept it prisoner in its still heart. Each evening when the sun dipped below the hills, painting the sky in hues of orange and violet, the hush stone would listen to the world. Her steps were hurried, her eyes downcast, for she was burdened with the noise of the world. It clung to her like a shroud, muffling her laughter and stealing her joy. It heard the murmur of crickets, the croak of frogs and the distant call of an owl, and with each passing year, the stone grew heavier with memories. The hush stone, bathed in moonlight, looked as if it were carved from silver, and Alara knew that she had experienced something truly special. One day, a young girl named Alara stumbled upon the lake. The worry that had clouded her eyes lifted, replaced by a newfound joy. It watched over Alara and the other travelers who came to the lake seeking peace, and it listened to the stories they whispered into its rough bark. Her laughter rang out once more, clear and sweet, echoing over the still surface of the lake. At first, it was difficult. He could hear the hammering of a nearby carpenter, the shouts of children playing and the rumble of a distant cart. But as he continued to focus on his breath, the sounds faded away. He could almost feel the sun's warmth on his face and the wind tousling his hair. For a moment, he forgot about his troubles and the noise that had been plaguing him. There was only the whisper and the feeling of deep, abiding peace. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows over the lake, Alara and Finn sat side by side beside the hush stone. They thought of the countless stories the hush stone must have heard, the hopes and dreams, the fears and sorrows of those who had sought solace by the lake. The hush stone rumbled softly, as if sharing their thoughts, and the two friends looked up to see the sky ablaze with stars. They were no longer the carefree children who had first discovered this place, but the wisdom and serenity of the hush stone had only deepened with time. In the stillness, Alara and Finn felt a deep sense of belonging, knowing that they were connected to something ancient and eternal. When the first rays of sunlight began to touch the horizon, Alara and Finn rose to leave. They knew it was time to return to their lives, to face the challenges and joys that awaited them. The whisper seemed to emanate from the hush stone itself, and it spoke to her of meadows filled with sunshine, babbling brooks and trees swaying in the breeze. And as the sun rises and sets over the ancient lake, the hush stone gathers the whispers of the world into its silence, keeping them safe in its still heart. From that day forward, Finn became a regular at the lake. As they walked away, hand in hand, they glanced back at the silent stone, bathed in the golden light of dawn. What stories does the stone share with you? In the silence, what do you discover about yourself and the world around you? Each evening he would sit beside the hush stone and listen to the whispers. He, too, learned the art of stillness and calm, and his laughter echoed once more over the still surface of the lake. And with each passing moment, they felt a sense of calm and clarity settle over them. So the legend of the hush stone lives on, a place where worries are left behind and the whispers of the world bring peace to troubled hearts. The whisper seemed to come from the hush stone, and it told him of a world where worries were as light as feathers and dreams took flight on wings of gold. When she reached the lake's edge, Alara sank onto the ground beside the hush stone. He ran through the streets, climbed the tallest trees, and explored every nook and cranny of the town. But Finn, too, felt the weight of the world's noise, and so he, too, came to the lake. She could almost feel the warmth of the sun on her skin, and the soft earth beneath her back. They shared their stories with the stone, their joys and sorrows, their dreams and fears. For a moment, she forgot about her troubles, about the noise that had been plaguing her. Each evening she would sit beside the hush stone and listen to the whispers. She told no one of her newfound solace, for she feared they wouldn't understand. There was only the whisper and the feeling of deep, abiding peace. She didn't know why, but something about the stillness of the boulder calmed her racing heart. As she leaned against the rough surface, she felt the tension draining from her shoulders, her breath slowing, her eyelids growing heavy. And then she heard it, a whisper carried on the wind, soft and gentle, like a mother's lullaby. As the whisper washed over her, Alara closed her eyes and let the sounds envelop her. When Alara opened her eyes, the sun had dipped below the horizon, and the sky was filled with stars. From that day forward, Alara became a regular at the lake. As the days turned into weeks and the weeks into months, Elara blossomed. The hushed stone continued to gather the whispers of the world, storing them in its ancient heart. Among them was a young boy named Finn. He was known throughout the village for his boundless energy. He sat beside the hushed stone and closed his eyes, trying to shut out the sounds of the world. And then he heard it, a whisper soft and gentle like the rustle of leaves. As Finn listened, he felt his heart lighten and his body relax. When Finn opened his eyes, the sky was filled with stars and the hushed stone shimmered in the moonlight. Years passed and Elara and Finn grew older. They continued to visit the hushed stone, finding comfort in its eternal peace. And the hushed stone, in its silent wisdom, listened to them all. As they leaned against the rough bark of the ancient tree, they felt a profound sense of connection, not only to each other, but to all the travelers who had come before them. And in that moment, they realized that they were part of something bigger than themselves, a community of souls seeking peace and quiet in an ever noisier world. The silence of the night was not empty, but filled with the whispers of the world and the memories of those who had come before them. As the night wore on, the friends shared their hopes and dreams for the future, the plans and projects they'd been contemplating. The hushed stone seemed to listen intently, its presence a comforting weight beside them. But they also knew that they would carry the peace of the hushed stone with them, a reminder to find stillness and quiet in the midst of life's chaos. They knew that they would be back, drawn by the ancient magic of the hushed stone and the promise of a new day. For those who seek solace in stillness, the hushed stone waits, patient and wise, ready to listen to their stories and hold their secrets close. In the quiet of the night or the stillness of the dawn, if you listen closely, you might just hear the whispers, too, carrying messages of hope, healing and peace from the hushed stone to your soul. Now close your eyes and picture yourself sitting beside the hushed stone at the edge of the ancient lake. What whispers do you hear?